Hey guys, Daisy here. In this 8th class of our course, the Adjective Genius, let's talk about superlative adjectives. Let's go? Alrighty then. Guys, piggybacking on the last class when we talk about comparative adjectives, today let's talk about superlative adjectives. In the last class, we saw that when we compare things, we compare two parts in the same sentence. We compare two brothers or two cities or two groups of things. We can compare two different foods, two different people, and we are always using twos, right? So the comparatives are based on always looking at two parts. The superlative, on the other hand, focuses on the super part, right? So a superlative adjective is unique, as we'll see here. In our definition of today, we can see that superlative adjectives are used to describe the person, thing, or place who exceeds at any given characteristic. They represent the number one, the record breaker. And I say this, the record breaker, in that universe in which we are talking about the adjective. So, for example, at one point, Usain Bolt was the fastest man alive. This guy over here, a wonderful, wonderful athlete, was the fastest person in the whole world. In his category, he won so many gold medals. He was the top, the number one, right? But over here, for example, in Brazil, so I'm counting only my country, Kinder eggs are the most expensive kind of chocolate. Unfortunately, because they are delicious. I don't know in other countries. So when I talk about Kinder eggs being the most expensive, I have to draw a line that's in Brazil. I'm not going to say in the world like when we talked about Mr. Bolt. Mr. Bolt is the fastest man in the whole planet, right? But I can talk about Kinder eggs being the most expensive chocolate here in Brazil. I can also say that I am the tallest person in my house. Not in the world, not in Brazil. So the superlative adjective will be the number one, the person with the number one characteristic at a specific universe that you decide. If that is your group of friends, your house, your city, your state, your country, your continent, or the world, that will differ from sentence to sentence. Okay? And just like the comparative adjectives that we saw in the last class, we also have a very specific way and some specific rules in how we can make any adjective of all the adjectives we have already seen in this course become a superlative adjective. So let's take a look at the rules. They are quite similar, if not identical, to the rules that we have to the comparative adjectives. So if you remember, in the last class, we talked about how to make the syllable division of words in English, right? We'll count the sounds of a word, and also we can count how many times we open our mouths to pronounce each word, right? So the division is the same, the rules are the same. What changes is now we are doing superlatives. So of course, when we have rule number one syllable or two syllables ending with Y, we are going to have a different suffix. So instead of saying we're going to say ist or est at the end of our one syllable or two syllable adjectives. So you can see here, Marvel Comics is the longest story ever told. Ever here is our universe, right? So we are talking about the longest story in the whole world, right? Marvel Comics is the longest story ever told. We use the in front of our adjective long, and we also add est to the end of the word to represent the superlative idea. Mary is the tallest girl in her class. Tall here, one syllable, right? Tall, tall. I opened my mouth only once. And here we have our little universe, right? The circle, which is in her class. And then, of course, I am the happiest in the morning, coming from the adjective happy, which ends with the letter Y, right? We are going to remove the letter Y and we are going to put instead the letter I. So we are going to have the happiest. Okay? Very good. Now, for rule number 2, for adjectives that have 2 or more syllables, right? 2 syllables that do not end in Y, very important here, or 3 or 4 or 5 syllables, we will not use a suffix. We will use the, again, the article here is very important, most, and then the adjective. Okay, so the most represents the superlative idea. So pizza is the most popular food ever. Paris is the most charming city in France. I don't claim it's the most charming city in the world, but in France. That is our little microverse, right? Here, guys, I just want to point out that no, we cannot apply the rules of number 2 into adjectives of number 1 or vice versa. These rules are exclusive. So if your adjective is short, 1 syllable or 2 syllables, go to rule number 1. If your adjective is long, 2 syllables that do not end in Y or more, go to rule number 2. Okay? You will hear informally some people saying, the most easy. But that is not grammatically correct. And if you want to be grammatically correct, follow these rules. They're pretty simple, so it's not that hard to follow. Of course, like many things in English, there are some exceptions. Okay? So we have over here the exceptions, my friends, as you can see, are the same ones for the comparative adjectives, right? So good, which in the comparative adjective is better, now is the best, right? Bad, comparative worse, superlative the worst. Far, in the comparative we have further or farther. Here we can also have furthest or farthest with a or with you, both completely acceptable. And like I explained in the last class, fun is also irregular in the comparative and superlative forms. So we have more fun or the most fun. Here we got some examples in dogs are people's best friends. And cats are the most fun pets. Right? Dog people, cat people, I got you covered, right? So best friends, right? Here, the best and the most fun, okay? I hope now you have a clear idea of how to make the superlative form of adjectives. Don't forget to do the exercises after this video. and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!